This is a bike ride where we just want to celebrate normal cycling cultures we may see in other parts of the world. Well, today we have we call it a protest ride, although it's probably a bit more of a family picnic than a protest. Maybe it's like knitting nanas, but we're here as we're protesting the mandatory helmet laws. We're here pushing this as a helmet optional ride, and that's just really what we want to see in society, where people are allowed to make that choice. I don't know, maybe we've got 50 or so at the moment. Rolling up to the hour.
Why are you joining in today's ride?
I'm joining in because I don't believe in mandatory helmet laws, which Australia is only the one of 2 countries in the world.
And you know that I was a very big fan of helmets.
Well, I used to race a bike too, as you know. Now I predominantly just ride freestyle. I ride a folding bike. I ride with my bike to the station, I fold it up and use public transport mainly. To me, to carry a helmet to me is just too cumbersome, and I just don't believe in it, and I think it should be left up to every person to make their own choices, whether it's dangerous or not to ride with a helmet or not.
Now tell me, what sort of bike do you ride then? Or is it a folding bike?
I ride a folding bike called the Strider folding bike. To me, it's the best folding bike there is because it's so easy and quick to fold, and it's very easy to maintain.
And can be taken on trams?
Can be taken on
buses,
trams as well,
everything.
Buses. Yep.
Excellent. All right, thanks very much, Norbert.
Thank you.
Enjoy the ride today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter Signorini, how are you today?
Good morning, Edwin.
Did I get the name right?
You got the name right, yes, in the pronunciation. It's excellent. I'm down here riding today, well, because I fervently believe that helmets don't make an enormous difference to the risks of cycling, especially sensible, law-abiding cycling. I grew up without helmets. I've had my fair share of falls and spills along the way, and helmets have been marginal in their impact for me. But I was certainly activated 2 years ago when a very good friend of mine was killed. He was riding on the road lawfully. He was wearing his helmet. Made a little difference.
I wonder if I could just see a quick show of hands from everyone who's been on one of these before. Okay, so a lot of repeat offenders and a few newbies. Since last year's ride, there have been some positive changes. I think from my point of view, the most positive change is the completion of Bicycle Network's review into their policy on bike helmets. In New Zealand, the level of fining cyclists, you know, New Zealand over the water, they're the only other country in the world that does this. In New Zealand, their fining level has dropped really, really low. They're less than 1/5 of the fines they were issuing 10 years ago. And in Auckland, their major city, a city of 1.6 million inhabitants, they issue less than 100 fines per annum.
I've got T-shirts. Do you want to buy one? Have you got one?
I reckon I'm a large.
This is a large.
Okay, I reckon
and
that's me.
And I'm just selling one to this gentleman here that hasn't bought one, and he's buying one today.
Excellent.
I mean, he hasn't ordered one, but he's buying one today.
It's always amazing how good looking the people are on these rides. That's why I have to dress like this to try and outdo them. So yeah, it's a lovely day for a ride. Welcome, particularly like this guy's on my level here. So as Alan said, first off I want to extend my thanks to the police from Melbourne Divisional Planning Unit for their assistance with today's ride. They continue to be understanding and professional, so yeah, that's great. As per last year, we're riding through City of Yarra, graciously recognising the light touch of the local cops, as well as the infrastructure we've got in here in Yarra. And part of that is also an acknowledgement of Bicycle Network's statement they released last year. You know, it's an off-road route. There's a few quiet streets in the middle, but you know that's kind of this low speed, low risk environment we're talking about today.
look, that was a really successful little ride. I know numbers are down from last year. People do get sort of protest exhaustion sometimes, and there's...
Actually, if I can speak on that, you know, I think it's part of our success. So this morning I went and chalked out the routes, and on the way to the cafe I saw more than half of a dozen, at least probably a dozen. Like we even passed a couple today.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like people have kind of felt they're not alone.
Hi, I'm here with
Catherine Diggins.
Catherine Diggins. Now, thank you so much for having a quick chat with me. This is your first time you've been on a freestyle cyclist
Yes,
ride?
I only heard about the movement 2 days ago through social media. Oh, actually the progress leader. I thought it was brilliant. I was probably hoping it would be a little bit more visible on main roads to get the message out there, but I understand probably
It's
wasn't.
not that recommended,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, still, but we're getting there.
Yeah, but look, I'm passionately pro-choice about most things in life. And I think when we're only one of 2 countries in the world who have mandatory helmet laws, it's ludicrous. I mean, I spent my whole childhood on a push bike without a helmet. I didn't die, nothing terrible happened, and a lot more children rode push bikes. So as a mother, I would get my kids to use a helmet, but I believe that people and adults should have conscious choice.
Now, Mark, tell me, what did you think of the ride today? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Would you do it again next year?
I will do it again next year.
And you've done it in the past as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I missed last year, but I did I think the first one that was done 2 years ago.
Mark, tell me a little bit about why you want to ride without a helmet.
I just want the freedom, and as much as anything, I want the freedom for everybody. Like sometimes I'll wear a helmet. I wear a helmet in lots of the other activities I do, but that's my choice. In cycling, I don't have that choice.
Today's ride was an important event. It's a once-a-year event.
Yes.
Tell me how you felt with all the people that joined us today.
Oh, like I said, you know, it's just a great ride. You just get everyday people. I mean, really, of all the rides I go on, you just never see more everyday people who just want to be able to get about.
You've been fined a few times for not wearing a helmet.
Yes.
You've gone to court.
Yes.
And you've fought against it.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
It's just caused me a lot of anxiety and grief, and there's a lot of cognitive dissonance involved, I'd say. So, as I mentioned, these rides, you just get normal, everyday folks. Taking something to court and going through the process, you know, stolen this, or there's, you know, there might be an assault charge, there's video links of people in prisons who have assaulted other inmates and stuff, and you're there because you chose to ride a bike to the shops without a helmet. It's, you know, for one thing, it's just really a huge contrast, but that whole feeling that, you know, you're a criminal and you're being treated as a criminal, whereas we're just people, we're good people. You know, we pay our taxes and we've got kids in school and we do all these reasonable things in society. To be treated that way just, I think, cause a lot of cognitive dissonance and a lot of stress and anxiety, certainly does for me.
The dehumanisation of someone who just rides a bike.
I think that's part of it, but, you know, you can really see how strong the persuasion would be against a lot of people just, you know, say riding down to the shops on a bike. When I moved here, you know, the helmet thing sort of came up as an anomaly, and then you know, I remember riding down Gertrude Street, and I can't remember if it was a hot day or something, but I just got annoyed at having my helmet, so I decided to take it off on that particular day. And then I realised I'm riding down there in the door zone. I thought, wow, this is really crazy, but that's kind of the pervasive thing that we see in Australia, I think. And I think that's that risk compensation, and I don't think it only applies to people who get on a bike. I also think it applies to our designers who build our streets. I think there's an acceptance of a high level of risk because people got their helmet on, so it'd be okay if they fall off or get in a crash.